Hello and welcome to this edition of God's Minute. I'm Pastor Jonathan Conrad, and I am the senior pastor at St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Wilmington, North Carolina. We continue our look at the second part of the book of Daniel. Today we look at chapter 11. Let's get to it. The king shall act as he pleases. He shall exalt himself and consider himself greater than any god, and shall speak horrendous things about the God of gods. He shall prosper until the period of wrath is completed, for what is determined shall be done. He shall pay no respect to the gods of his ancestors, or to the one beloved by women. He shall pay no respect to any other god, for he shall consider himself greater than all. He shall honor the God of fortresses instead of these, a God whom his ancestors did not know he shall honor with gold and silver, with precious stones and costly gifts. He shall deal with the strongest fortresses by the help of a foreign god. Those who acknowledge him he shall make more wealthy, and shall appoint them as rulers over many, and shall distribute the land for a price. At the time of the end, the king of the south shall attack him, but the king of the north shall rush upon him like a whirlwind, with chariots and horsemen, and with many ships. He shall advance against countries and pass through like a flood. He shall come into the beautiful land, and tens of thousands shall fall victim. But Edom and Moab and the main part of the Ammonites shall escape from his power. He shall stretch out his hand against the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. He shall become ruler of the treasures of gold and of silver, and all the riches of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall follow in his train. But reports from the east and the north shall alarm him, and he shall go out with great fury to bring ruin and complete destruction to many. He shall pitch his palatial tents between the sea and the beautiful holy mountain. Yet he shall come to his end, with no one to help him. So after Alexander the Great, there was a lot of turnovers in the king department, and we eventually end up with a king named Antiochus IV Epiphanes, who Daniel calls in verse 21 a contemptible man. That is because it is Anti, as I like to call him, who destroys the Jewish temple. That kind of thing can make people, especially the Jewish people, remember you. I'm going to call him Anti because, well, he really is the anti-king, the anti-ruler, the anti-everything you would want in a leader. Anti is in it for himself. He is in it for the power, for the influence, and the money. In our reading today, Anti turns his attention away from Jerusalem and decides to fight someone else, God. To do that, Anti will abandon his own religious traditions and set himself up as a god. Now, who do you think would win that battle? If I may use a quick pro wrestling history lesson, back in the early 90s, the best tag team in the world was Rick and Scott Steiner. I'll show you a picture of them. They're quite big boys and they were very well accomplished. The Steiner brothers, world champions. And they were about to face a team called the Nasty Boys, or in this case, let's call them the Contemptible Boys. And when the team signed the contract for a match, the Contemptible Boys said, "We are going to be the next champions." And the Steiners said, "You say you want to be the next champions. Well, you got one thing right. You're next." And that is what happens in our passage. Anti wants to be the next God. And God says, "Well, you're right. You're next." Daniel tells us, and I love how he starts verse 40 with "at the time of the end," because Daniel is talking about the end of Anti, the fake God, not the God of Israel. And when Anti meets his fate, because his actions of his life, he is left alone to fight. No one helps. After all the people he cheated and betrayed, now he is the one that is left alone. This is a great lesson in how we treat others in order to get what we want. If what we want means that we hurt others, betray others, abandon others, and that could be spouses, children, family, friends, etc., if it involves turning away from those you love and those who love you, is it really worth it? Are you really going to enjoy life when no one is there to enjoy it with you? What is power worth to you? What is money worth to you? Are those things more important than your relationship with loved ones? Are they more important than your relationship with God? Because if power and money do mean more, well, God is going to say, "You are next." Don't be like Anti. Be a child of God. Serve others first and always. Thank you for listening today. I will see you tomorrow for a special Saturday edition of God's Minute where we will wrap up the book of Daniel. So stay tuned. Join me tomorrow. Until then, take care and God bless.